Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of Deckin Around. My name is Tyler.
And I'm Steve.
Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you get notifications for upcoming episodes. We are super pumped for tonight. We have an awesome guest. I'm sure a lot of you know him, Matt Romeril. How you doing tonight, Matt?
Doing good.
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being
What
here,
up, Matt?
Hey.
I'm sure a lot of you know Matt from the live cast that he has on Instagram pretty frequently. He is an avid card collector and very often opens his decks for people to see. He's one of my favorite lives to watch, I know, because I always get to see a lot of the decks that I don't open myself, and they're always beautiful. Matt does a great job with it.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. I think everybody in the community knows who you are. I mean, I think, you know what I think we should do? I think we should start off in Matt style and open up a deck.
Yeah, sure. I
You
got
want-
one I can share.
You got one?
Yeah, I got one. You want to see one?
Let's do
Absolutely.
it, man.
What are you opening for us tonight, Matt?
All right, so I got Star Deck. You guys ever seen this one?
I have not.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is designed and illustrated by Lunar Saloon.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Luna Saloon. Right on.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
This looks like a pretty...
So it's so
What up,
sad
Nathan?
to take that cello off.
Hey, Mark, how's it
What
going?
up, card collector?
Dude, this is a good-looking deck. I like the gray and the gray and the black on it.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me see here. Trying to figure out the best way to do this on here. Whether I just
Perfect. Yeah, that's good.
Is this good?
Yeah, no,
Is this
this
Oh,
looks
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
flip it through.
camera.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
so
wow,
here we
that's
go.
cool.
We got the
It
Jokers.
looks like a Lego. It looks like a Lego gun. Go
Kinda,
go
right?
to the go to your, what is it, your right a
Your
little
left
bit?
a little bit.
There you go,
Yeah,
right there.
perfect.
Perfect. There you go.
Dude, I've never seen a Lunar Saloon deck before. This is a good-looking deck. I like the
Yeah. So this is.
Oh, the
This is
pips look
Kickstarter.
like Space Invaders.
Yeah, this is awesome. I really like the angularity of it. It's something different. Even the font is really like complementary to the shapes of the pips and everything. But that's so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely like asteroidish.
Oh wow, and that's like super like space alien, and the color patterns on this are
Oh.
intense.
Oh, it's definitely aliens
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Look at them holding skulls. Yeah, the court cards are like have skulls incorporated with it. It's pretty cool.
Where did you end up picking this deck up, Matt?
Just off of eBay.
All right.
Yeah.
It was a
a
Kickstarter, though, you said?
Kickstarter, Yeah, back in 2016.
Nice.
All right, so definitely
What up,
a
Ruth?
little bit of an older one. Hey Ruth, how's it going?
Ruth was our guest on episode 1, which is long lost. We're gonna actually have her back on sometime in the near future. That's cool. I like that king.
Yeah, the kings are impressive.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very like space war like. Like there's some definite like military aspect to it, which is super cool.
Yeah, there definitely is for sure, especially that
Yeah,
last one.
dude, the colorway is just amazing on this too. That like red, yellow, and blue just pops so nicely. Even though it's so rudimentary, it has such a great vibe to it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Here we go. My favorite.
That's like
card,
futuristic,
card.
Yeah.
that one. That one's like futuristic, yeah. It's cool, there's like so many different dynamics to it. It goes from like... Yeah, that's weird. It goes from like alien to like futuristic to...
Yeah,
It's
it kind of
cool.
looked like some of it looked like
Yeah.
future humans versus like androids versus like alien. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cool.
That's the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for, androids. Let me see, what's the back design look like? Oh, cool.
That's definitely a very cool back design. I gotta say the geometric like patterning to it and everything just very eye catching. Nice. It almost looks like
Yeah.
a mandala a little bit like in that like kind of that shape to it. It's a little more angular, but it's got
Yeah.
some nice patterning. And thank you for sharing that with us, Matt. Honestly,
Yeah,
I
no
think that's
worries.
one of the Matt's lives were probably one of the first lives I had seen, and coming into it and being like, all right, like let's see what collecting cards is all about. Getting to see someone open a deck and
Yeah.
be so passionate about sharing it with the community, I think to me speaks volumes about not only your character but how much you enjoy cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's why I do it mostly for the art. I just love the art on the playing cards. And so I know there's a lot of collectors that, like to keep them sealed and like to keep them pristine. And I get that. I understand that, but I like to enjoy the
I
cards.
get that, and I personally am. Yeah,
That's why we love you.
that is why we love
That's
you.
why we love you.
And honestly, I'm one of those people who usually will keep them sealed if I don't have a second copy of a deck. But there's been a lot of decks that haven't even seen before that you've like shown, and I'm like, wow, I gotta find one of those decks. They're just amazing.
Yeah,
Nah.
right. Yeah, I try to find the ones that are a little less known.
Right on. Yeah, no, you have an amazing collection. We're definitely gonna have to have you show off a couple.
Oh, for sure.
Once we get a little started and get into
Show a
like
little bit.
yeah, into a little bit more of your collection.
Yeah.
Ruth asked us if she has to wear one of these headsets.
Yeah.
If you want, Ruth, you can grab one. Tyler, do you want to open next or
All
what?
right, so I'm going a little old school here, and nothing super exciting, but I'm opening up a deck of red dragonbacks tonight, only because I've had this deck for probably a month and a half now, and I've been wanting to get this thing open for a while. So,
Just to let everybody know, just to fill everybody in, I'm not approving of this deck because I have been wanting to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle deck for probably the last 2 weeks now since
Yeah.
episode 1.
so
But he keeps putting us
the
off.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will definitely open this weekend. I ended up getting a second one, which is a little dinged up on the cellophane and a couple dings on the corner, so that will be the one that gets open. The reason I delayed so much on it is that first one I got for being almost 18 years old now. 18, is that right? No, she's 28 years old.
What
It's literally mint. Like the corner
what
that
is what is?
the first version of that Teenage
Oh
Mutant Ninja
yeah, yeah.
Turtle one I got. Yeah. So, all right. So this guy is open here. I always try and go around the seal there. I don't know how everyone opens. I know there's a ton of people who try and collect the sticker and put it on, or the seal and put it on the bottom corner of the box, and there's so many different ways to do it. I just usually use my like a knife or a thumbnail. So see, and
Yeah, that's what I do too. I try to keep that little half
yeah,
moon.
this is why I always love the bicycles though, because you get to see the colorway in the contrast to the Jokers. Like to me, that's such an awesome aspect of it, especially with these with the red gold and like tealish green. Again, Steve's like, yeah, I've seen this deck before, but like again, it's a pretty custom like set of bicycles, but like you get the nice custom colorway on the courts, which it just has a good look to it. I do wish they had.
Not as good as Teenage Mutant Ninja
That is
Turtles.
true. Well,
though.
you know what? Saturday, I'll do a live with Steve in there so he can see it firsthand, and you'll all have to check it out. But I do.
Why don't you save it? You should save it till next
I'll save
week.
it.
till
I'll
the
save it
live
for
one
next week. So I'm still gonna do a deck opening showdown this weekend, and maybe I'll keep the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles out, and then next week we will open the yellow one. I have to say though, I do wish there was a custom Ace of Spades in this. That is one of the things that's kind of a letdown with these bicycle with the dragon backs. But I absolutely love the back on these, especially the blue one, which I did not open today. But the reds are just as nice. So, Steve. So
Yeah.
now after you talked so much smack there, what are you opening for us tonight?
I am gonna open because I've actually had a lot of questions about the new Billie Eilish deck. Everybody was asking me
Right.
how the cards feel. So
how you can bring yourself to buy them?
I mean, you gotta support the Eilish. I think I'm not a huge fan of hers, but
It's actually not a bad looking deck, all things considered.
the deck is really cool looking. I mean, that's her logo for the her album, which is kind of cool, and it's on the back of the deck. I mean, they're plastic, that's for sure. They're a little thick. Whoa, it fans.
Oh wow, that's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
a solid fan too.
Holy cut! All right, everybody, it is plastic, but it fans like no problem. I think it's a little rough, but it springs. I mean, let's see. See if it's spring. Yeah, it's a little hard to bend, but I'm sure if you break them in a little
It's
bit.
got a pretty good sound to it. It sounds like you're getting a pretty good spring on it.
I'm just shocked at spring. I mean, it fans. It definitely it fans. It spreads really
Who do you think?
nice.
Who do you think made them?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, nobody good, that's for sure. But I think I'm just surprised it fans. But I mean, it's really cool because I think if you look at it, it has green and black. So even though the black pips are on there, the indices are green, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
it is a
Yeah.
nice looking green too.
Um,
Like I like that. Like it's not neon, but it's still vibrant.
and the court cards are all her, which is pretty
All
dope.
right,
Yeah, so that's the queen right there.
not necessarily my style, but still decently done.
Yeah, I
that,
mean it's
that green is kind of like a toxic sludge
Yeah.
green. I like
it
it.
totally is. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I think they did a good job on the deck. And then the only problem is oh they did switch it. Okay. Um, so for the clubs and spades they went the opposite. So obviously it's black with the green indices rather than the green indices and the black pips, which is kind of cool. So let's see. So like right here, green with the black.
Interesting. All right, so they kept the same colorway, but yeah, reversed it a little. I think if you're in the heat of the moment, that could get a little confusing if you're not really paying attention and you're trying to go by color. But it's not.
Yeah, I mean, this obviously is not a. I mean, if you're gonna play with it, it's not something you're gonna do anything intense. But I mean, it's definitely like if you like Billie Eilish, then you get the deck because I mean, you're a fan, and the deck is kind of cool. I think it's cool that
Yeah.
that she
I'm pleasantly
did.
surprised.
I'll be honest. The first thing I was like, it definitely doesn't fan, but it fans
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
shocked at how good the fan is. It doesn't exactly look like an appealing like fan based on the back, so I don't think it was made for that though. Like it's not nothing like crazy. It's not like a deck for like cardistry where it's really made to fan with a like nice visual, but it still looks good.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name was why can I not think of his name all of a sudden? He was doing cardistry with it, and that's what made me pick it up. Um, I mean, they'll definitely for sure sell out on her site. I think they did already.
No, they still have close to 1,000 on her site. I think.
Yeah, no. Originally they
Oh.
sold out and they
Oh,
got more.
nice.
So what happened was Columbia Records is obviously who she's signed under, and they had a bunch on their website because I read a few posts saying that they're already sold out, and obviously I was able to get them. So they must have had more that they brought in or printed because yeah, they have a ton. And I think when I ordered mine, they had like 400, and now supposedly they have more
Yeah.
than that. So I think I mean, they can print as many as they
Yeah,
want.
yeah, it's not a limited run.
I yeah, and I think the allure. Someone asked, what point of printing on a plastic deck is the price. It's super cheap, and yeah, and resilient. They last longer. But I think if you're printing something like this for a novelty, you just want to go cheap.
Yeah.
And plastic is, it has no texture on it. It's nothing, and super cheap.
And waterproof, thankfully.
So yeah.
So,
Right.
if you're playing poker by the pool
Yeah.
in the summer, you won't ruin your cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest though. I'm a fan. They feel good. They're a little stiff, but any deck that fans that is a novelty deck is a fan of mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of. That's what I meant to say. So yeah, that's about it with the Billie Eilish deck.
I'm enjoying the fact too that the chat right now is having a nice discussion on the toxic green and its connection to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
Yeah.
Bro, this is what I think Matt should make the call. Should he open up the Ninja Turtles deck right now? I mean, everybody wants
all
it.
right,
Everybody wants it.
all right. Give me like 30 seconds. I will get the deck. I'll be right back.
Yes.
Awesome.
Turtle power. What else we got? So, anybody have any questions for Matt while we're waiting here? I have a question for you, Matt. What's your?
What do you got?
I mean, I know this, but for those that don't, what's your favorite deck that you own?
Yeah, so I've got an antique deck. I'll
What's
just show
antique?
you.
What year is that?
So this one is from 1890.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So super old.
I'm always fascinated too with a lot of these cards how well they've held up over that period of time.
Yeah, for sure, right? Look at it. He hides it. He hides it where nobody can get it, like in the back of his case in a locked box with like a booby trap set up.
Red laser lights coming out.
Right, yeah.
Right. Nice. How do you say that?
So it's Carte Indienne. So it's a
Carte
French deck. It's from BP Grimaud is the printer.
He's
from
pretty
Paris, France.
popular out there. He's kind of like the go-to, right?
Yeah, for many years. Yep.
For like board games, he does tarot decks and stuff like that, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen his name like a bunch of like old decks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it,
So I mean, if you guys are interested, I could show you a little bit real quick.
absolutely.
Let's
You wanna
do
see
it.
quick?
Yeah, is this
Heck
the
yeah.
one with the like the super shiny gilding on the sides, or is this the one with the corner gilding?
The corners are
All right.
gilded.
I remember we had a discussion about this a while ago about how they used to do that a lot on the decks and how it's literally just
Yeah.
the corners. It's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah, like
Can you see that?
just
Yeah, for sure.
and like that's just like the perfect amount of like gold to accent everything. It's not overly done, but it adds a nice amount of class. God, this is just a beautiful deck.
So it looks like it's a Pharaoh deck?
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
no.
Nice. That's what all the olden decks used to be like, right? It was like a Pharaoh deck. They used to not have numbers on them or anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, if you don't mind me asking, what was the price tag for something like that?
Yeah. So this one, it's not easy to find. I feel like I was lucky to get
Yeah.
this one for 350.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
see the metallic ink in there.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, again, 130 years
silver?
old using metallic ink, and this thing looks like
Right?
it's in perfect condition. Like, that sounds like a steal. Even though that price tag is high, like, it looks like that was a steal.
Yeah,
it-
for
I feel
sure.
like it
It's
was.
beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a gorgeous deck.
Yeah.
And again, I think it goes to the
Welcome,
fact
Mike.
earlier that you mentioned that you really collect for the art of it. You know, it's not just the
Yeah.
hype decks that come out.
Right.
So, Matt, so Nathan wanted to know what you look for most in your court cards.
Mm.
Cards. That's a good question. Obviously customization. There are a few standard decks out there if they do certain small minimal customizations that are kind of cool. Like I don't know what you guys think of OPC, but I've got like two decks of OPC, and they have standard chords, but like the Peelers V2 where they got the bananas, each chord has like something with a banana. I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. But for the most part, I like them to be standard. I like them to be different. I like them to be unique. Something that you don't see all the time. Like that
Right.
star deck I just
Yeah.
opened.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than on your lives
Yeah.
too, I think you and I, Matt, first really bonded over the Goketsu deck that just finished up on Kickstarter recently. I
Yeah.
mean, that
Yeah.
thing is just
Looking
yeah.
forward to
I'm
that.
super excited for that one too. I'm hoping that in the next couple months we get our hands on that because that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanna since you just brought up Kickstarter, you wanna roll into our little Kickstarter segment or?
Yeah. So
Or hit that Ninja Turtles
yeah.
deck.
So,
Oh yeah. Good man. Yeah, let's do the Ninja Turtles deck first,
right.
and then we can go to the Kickstarter
So,
breakdown.
like I said, out of the two decks I got, this is the worst condition of the two, and you can see this is still in pretty good condition. I'm trying to find a good, like, this is for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, so they are Turtles in Time. They are samurais here. And it's
Nice.
actually a USPCC deck. So this is Ohio done. This is the one, too, and I mentioned this to Steve, so I have two of these decks. One of them does not have a seal, and the other one actually has the blue seal. So
oh, fake.
yeah, it's got to be. So I'm gonna tell you, for a deck from 1993, it's held up well. Clearly not as well as a 130-year-old deck, but this is a fun one. And actually, the cello has a nice like tab right on it, so it's easy to get to.
Nice.
So let's see what we got here. I'm gonna be a little rough with this one because it's the lesser of the two. So, and the nice thing is I don't have to worry about a seal on it. So, all right, it's got the nice little like trademark stuff right on it. Nothing too crazy. Oh, doesn't smell great. It smells. Oh man.
A little dusty.
A little. Yeah. A
Nice.
little.
Moldy.
Not moldy, but a little old. I'm not gonna lie. So this.
That mildew smell.
So I'm gonna tell you though right now, this thing.
That 90s
Yeah.
scent.
This thing is awesome.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. And then
Oh, that's the back
yeah.
design. Okay, gotcha. Cool.
there are actually there's
Is that Bebop?
so
Is that Bebop?
so that was yeah, I think that was Bebop, yeah.
Nice.
There's actually a game here called City Sewer Fish. So it seems like a Ninja Turtles version of Go Fish.
Nice.
And this is the back. So I showed you the Joker, but this is the back. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. Master Splinter speaks.
Sweet. There's gonna be a big influx of like people buying Ninja Turtle decks this
I'm
week.
glad, honestly. So I picked up one of
Yeah,
all of them. So thankfully, I'll get them before the rush.
Before they go
Yeah.
up to $25-$30 a deck.
There are actually two games explained out in this. The other one's called No Way, Dude. I'm not exactly sure what the objective of it is, but here we go. Ace of Spades, Leonardo. This is I'm gonna flip through this real quick, but this is actually pretty awesome because each of the pips is the turtle cut out with the numbers in it. So
Oh, dude, is that? Oh, sweet.
yeah, this is pretty intense. So I'm gonna go up to the courts real quick. So we got
Cool.
Leonardo with pizza.
Pizza, dude.
Leonardo with the sword.
Sweet.
Then
Yes.
diamonds, we got Raphael. And again, all the pips are in there with the with Raphael with the cutout with the diamonds in the center. I have to say, this is an awesomely done deck. It's definitely more than I anticipated. So
Yeah.
Thanks.
the one thing I will say is all of the courts, and you'll be able to see this real quick, they're the same pose for the jack, for the queen, and for the king, just with the top
Nice.
the turtle swapped out. So
Yeah.
Sweet.
still cool, still very still obviously a custom Ninja Turtles style here. We got Donatello.
How's the fan, dude? Did you try the fan yet, or
I
what?
did not try the fan, but I'm gonna tell you, there's an interesting texture on them. They're not air cushion.
That's the Ohio. Like it's probably
Yeah. So
smooth finish.
Donatello
So
is
not-
the Ace of Clubs, and then Michelangelo as Hearts.
Do we get? Rabbit wants to know if we get April in her yellow jumpsuit.
So I'm actually a little surprised and bummed. There's no secondary characters. No April. No what was the hockey guy, Casey?
Oh,
Yeah, none of the secondary characters are there, which is kind of a bummer. But
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
cool.
that sucks. I mean, April was a big deal. I'm surprised she's not in there. Bebop's in there. Why isn't she?
and there's only one Joker, which is also super strange. So
Yeah.
But that might have been the counterfeit deck without the seal.
yeah, well, we're never gonna find out now. But let me see what I got
Awesome.
here. I'm gonna throw. I'll see how the fan is in a second. I'm just gonna throw this back together because I preserved the order. But
Ruth said V2.
so I actually, it's not terrible. A little clumpy. Oh yeah, that was a bad one, but that was just me. I'm Matt and I are on about a similar level for fans. So
I was gonna say I'm not super
yeah.
great.
So yeah, they're clumping up a little bit on me, but dude, it's not a bad looking deck.
Yeah.
I ended up.
That's
There's
cool.
actually, I think, 3 others. There's a teal one, a purple one, and another yellow one. I think I have one of each coming at some point, so we'll have to check those out another time. Yeah,
Nice.
if I can.
Purple, that's the way to go. They knew back then that purple was the
The
color.
purple actually looks good
Right.
too. It's kind of like a more of like a lilac. So these things, yeah, they smell like mothballs and like someone's basement. It's not appealing.
They might have been in a drawer with somebody's mothballs.
It might have been like,
Yeah, sure.
man, the smell literally reminds me of like my grandma's house.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Justin. We'll gild it in purple too. We'll do a purple gild. We'll call it purple shelling or something.
We can, so here's the interesting thing. So I did a little digging after I found these cards for the company Mirage. They're actually shuttering their doors this year. They're selling off the last of their assets. And the guy who did a lot of the illustrations for this up until like this year used to actually sign the memorabilia still that they would sign off the site. So the cool thing about this is it may be that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as like a copyright is up for sale at some point. So we
Oh, dude, you know who's gonna buy that though?
Theory 11.
Definitely not. No, they're owned by like Universal or someone like that, right?
Who's that? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, who are they owned by?
I don't know. The most recent ones, like the remake of the show now, is Nickelodeon. So whoever owns Nickelodeon is the one that's doing that now. But definitely an interesting deck.
Nickelodeon acquired the global rights. Yeah, so Nickelodeon does.
Yeah. So.
Mirage doesn't own it anymore.
All right. Yeah. So they're probably just selling all their stuff off to shutter the doors, even though the high value IP is gone already. But yeah, man.
Yeah,
This is a fun little deck.
Right on.
For opening it.
No, my pleasure.
Jackson will buy. Jackson. Yeah. I'm sure it's $1 billion name. That's for sure.
I mean, listen, I'm excited for that Lord of the Ring deck. I don't know which would have cost more, to be honest. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Lord of the Ring.
I mean, paying for the rights is definitely a different story than buying
Oh,
the
yeah.
name of Teenage Mutant
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles.
Well,
That's for
it
sure.
probably still costs more to pay for the rights of Lord of the Rings than it would to pay for the rights of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. It'd be interesting to know those numbers. Maybe we'll have them on and ask
Yeah,
them.
no, I think that would be worthwhile, especially as the deck gets a little more finished. Maybe we get like a sneak peek.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
What cool. Thank you for opening that,
Not a
dude.
problem. Always a pleasure. I'm taking a page from the book of Matt, so gotta
Right
share it with
on.
the people.
2 decks in one night, man. That's
This is
impressive.
more than I've probably opened in like the past month. So
Right
Yeah.
on. Right on. What's yeah, you want to do your little Kickstarter
let's kick into
segment?
Kickstarter. So we
Yeah.
have a couple decks that we want to run through this week that actually just recently got funded. First one is the Serpent deck by Jason Chang. So congrats to Jason on that one. I know this was a deck that Steve, you did some of the photography on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did some of the photos for
Yeah,
him.
so I think this
Yeah.
is, I think this was a really cool deck. I know he actually got do a great push for the deck before they even launched the Kickstarter, and I think it paid off in this situation.
Yeah.
That Cobra, or the black special edition, limited edition that he originally did, sold out within hours. I think this thing funded within, 6 hours?
Yeah, it funded pretty
Yeah,
quick.
which is impressive. Again, it's a
Yeah.
good looking deck, and he really put a lot of effort into not only the design but also the push to get people excited about it. So
Yeah,
definitely worth.
that's for sure. He didn't rush. He took time. He took 3 weeks to a month to push it, and he didn't just put it out there just hoping that it'll get funded. He really did a lot of work. He and he's continuously just keeps pushing it until it funded, which was really
Yeah,
cool.
so-
That's definitely how it should be done.
Congrats to Jason on that one. Next, we got the
Yeah.
Marman deck, which I know we talked about this one a little while ago. They funded pretty close to the goal line there. Congrats to PF Vanderberg on this, 5,700 out of 5,000. So again, pushed over the line. Pretty big spike, I think, towards the middle of it. We talked a little bit about the potential of buying into your own campaign here, which is it is what it is. Sometimes you got to push it over the finish line a little bit.
Sure,
Yeah, I mean, if you want to fund it and you have the money to do it. I mean, the money goes to you anyway, so
Right.
obviously Kickstarter gets the 10%, but it's not like you're spending money stupidly. Like it's going back into your pocket.
Yeah.
So, that's clearly what was done here because obviously, you know,
Yep.
it doesn't add up. But it's cool. I'm glad it got funded. It's an interesting deck. Yeah.
Yeah. Next was the circus deck, which I know we also talked about a little bit last time. Congratulations to Marion Larson on this one. I'm not surprised at all that this got funded. I think people were really into this deck.
It's gorgeous.
While
I love this
while
one.
it's not my style, this is a breathtaking deck. The art is extravagant but awesome, super well done. There were 2 or 3 different versions of the deck on this one.
Two
Yeah,
versions.
2 versions
yeah.
of the deck.
Yeah.
Matt, I have no doubt you backed this pretty quick. Did you make it in the top 10 of backers?
I did.
Were you number 2?
I was backer number 1 on this.
All right,
one.
there you go.
Yeah.
Very
Matt.
nicely done.
Matt, how many times have you been back at number 1?
I don't know. Probably, 5 or 6.
I don't know, Buffers.
We might have to have a separate segment called Matt Teaches You How to Be the First Kickstarter Backer, because I've tried, and I did that for, I don't know, Steve, I don't even remember which one it was. We talked about it at some point, but like I tried really hard to be backer number 1, I want to say on Jody Eklund's Sovereign deck, and I ended up being backer number 16, which not bad for my first attempt, but yeah.
The key is to just right when it opens, just pledge on the very first one, and then just change your pledge if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, there you go.
So now I know the secret. We'll see next time. Next deck that comes up that I back, we'll have to check it out. Which I'm hoping is either going to be that.
Unless you're wanting an early bird, and they're in danger of selling out. Sometimes you got to watch for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially if they do the limited count. I think a lot of people, and we can talk a little bit more about this later, but I think a lot of people are shifting to the time-sensitive early bird, which I think is great.
Yeah.
It really, it seems to help out, and it's not like you're selling any less decks here. You're maybe losing $1 or $2 a deck, probably $1 at most on most of these like early birds, but you're probably getting significantly more volume. And I know we've discussed in previous shows that at the end of the day, this is a big volume game. So, but again though, congrats to Marianne Larson, an amazing deck. I can't get over the backs on these. I think the artwork is amazing.
Beautiful deck, very well done. Not my style. I'm not a circus fan, but beautiful.
Clowns freak me out. So honestly, like
I'm not afraid of clowns. I'm just. Yeah, I mean, I like going to circuses. They're fun to watch. I'm just not into the whole like carny scene.
I accidentally watched it when I was 5, so I'm not a fan of clowns. After that, I just don't trust clowns. I had some like inner turmoil with this deck because I'm like, I really like the artwork on this, but I feel like if it's in my room, I'm gonna freak out. So, not gonna get
the deck will be like talking to Tyler, being like,
I can't do it. I would be too freaked out, so I passed on it, but it is a beautiful deck, and I actually look forward to see what Marianne Larson does for her next deck. Hopefully we can get her on the show, too, to talk about it when the time comes. Sweet. And the last one that funded in the past week was the Commoners deck by Ian Cumsty. This was actually more of a European-style deck. I think the art is much more traditional, but this is an awesome custom deck. Full custom courts, full custom everything, really. And very much in that like European kind of Germanic style, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I backed this one as well.
Same here. I thought this was a really cool deck, and it was one of my first more traditional decks that I picked up.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. You know what?
Not my style, but really cool. I dig it.
To me, it has a very like, I don't want to say like a child's like book feel, like illustration wise. I don't want to like demean it like that, but to me it has a very like comforting look to it. It's very reminiscent of like old world, very cool. Like, I mean, little pheasant here. It's an awesome looking deck. So congrats to Ian on that one. I know he's done a couple decks in the past. Hopefully he keeps on rolling with this and we get to see another couple cool decks out of him.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right on. Right on. What else is up on the good old Kickstarter front?
So
anything new?
We had a couple new decks this week. The first one being Kira playing cards here. This was actually a really small goal on it. Only 2,200.
That tells me it's not printed by USPCC. That's for sure.
So it's actually printed by Cardamundi.
Really?
Yeah, which kind of surprised me, but I'm guessing it's
How many how many
Well,
how many decks are
okay.
they
so I
putting?
don't think they posted the fact that there's a limit. I believe they're doing as many as needed. Um,
So this is Steel Carton Shop, right?
yeah.
Yeah, they're a shop out of Germany. I bet you that these may be already printed.
Okay.
I would not be
Oh,
surprised if they're already printed. And when does it say they're going to fulfill?
go go down. You got to go. Oh
Birds.
wait, some of it says July. Some of it says July. Some of it says
Yeah.
August.
Okay.
So
Early it says July. The other one says August. That's weird.
honestly, I like the
So
back on it,
so
but
yeah,
yeah.
with Cardamundi, it might already be in the
Okay.
pipeline. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, he might have already funded it himself, or who knows.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yep.
think it's an interesting back. Not really my style, but not a bad looking deck at all.
Yeah, I like that Joker. That joke is
Yeah.
dope.
And I don't know how far they are into it. Only 600, so it only came up today, so there's still pretty much a good amount of time on it to full kind of run with it. So I'm sure it'll probably fund, especially with a pretty reasonable, if not low, goal. Um,
Right.
yeah.
How much is it per deck?
No,
35?
not
Oh
nine
no.
dollars early bird, $11 regular. So again, a reasonably priced deck. That's not bad.
Oh,
I think when I looked at this earlier, a
gee.
full brick was 117. Yeah, so
Nice.
that's really not
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
bad.
if I
good
could
pricing.
add something real quick.
Huh?
So Nathan was asking earlier what I look for in court cards.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing that I look for in court cards is people or characters or some sort of
Mm.
character. Something like this I don't really go for.
I can see that. It's a very much like just the crowns to designate between Joker.
Yeah.
There's another deck actually that I just saw recently that was doing something similar, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was. It hadn't made it to Kickstarter yet. It was in a design phase, and a lot of the feedback was you need to actually have people on the courts. So I
Yeah,
think that makes
I
sense.
agree. Any questions up there? Let's see what we got. Check it out.
Jason asked how many
Riffle
decks they have
shuffle.
to print. At least 500, which yeah, it's probably gonna. It's, even with Cardamundi, I think there's at least a 500 minimum they have to go, if not 1,000. So
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into the riffle shuffle deck when we hit it. Actually, that isn't
yeah,
even
no,
up
not
yet.
up yet. I don't think they're going up till.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we
So,
have
yeah.
here? We have the ephemerid.
Ephemerid.
Yeah. So this is already funded by a multiplier. This is the Mr. or I am Mr. Cup from Instagram.
Yeah, Mr. Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk a little bit about this one. So this is kind of like an addition in a way. It's kind of like, um, he came out with these collector's versions of this deck. He originally had a standard version and a deluxe version, which was basically version one, I guess you can call it. And then he came out with these metal versions, which is, the copper, the silver, and the gold, which was version two, I guess you can say. And that Kickstarter actually wasn't too long ago. I want to say November, maybe. And as far as I'm aware, hasn't been fulfilled yet. So I think on here, what he did was, I think his name's Fabian.
Yeah, Fabian.
Yeah, Fabian. What he did was he came out with these 6 new versions, which is the collector's edition, which is like a cream. It only has 180 copies. These are like extremely limited editions. And then there's the collector's edition, which is a holographic foil on the box. And as far as I know, these are just different tuck boxes. They're all the same deck inside.
Yeah.
For these new editions. And then you have the four
Well,
shades of
true.
gray.
So the cream and the holographic ones have the copper version of the cards,
Yeah.
where
Right.
I think the rest of them have a black and silver. I
Right.
think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not like different
Oh, right,
cards.
right.
They're like basically the same decks that have already been
They
printed.
had before.
Yeah. So they're So basically, you can buy, you can back all of the decks if you want, and I think he has a reprint of the deluxe version, which now I believe is full foil inside.
Yeah, hot foil inside.
It has hot foil, which would be really cool because I think that's definitely gonna. I mean, the decks are beautiful. I have the standard and the deluxe, and I think that's a gorgeous deck. So if you're definitely looking for the set, the tuck boxes look beautiful. He is definitely one of the best letterpress printers out there for sure.
So, and one of the other things to keep in mind with this too is if you're ordering any, or if you're backing any of the previous versions of the deck, he's offering free shipping on those right now because he's expecting to ship those with the hologram and the cream collector editions. So it's a pretty good deal if you missed out on the first Kickstarter.
Yeah, good. Definitely a good. I mean, he's had them on pre-order on his site since the last Kickstarter. So, yeah. So I don't know when. I'm sure those will be going out soon.
I'm assuming that with the free shipping, because he's going to try and piggyback it, it'll probably ship when these complete. So,
what's the date say on that?
let's see here, June.
June.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah, so hopefully we get everything gets out there and you'll be able to see some of these. I mean, I think the Hollow is amazing. It'd be a very cool deck to see in the wild. So, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the tuck box right there. That's the difference.
Yeah. So what else do we have
Sweet.
here?
We got transparent bubble deck.
So, bubble deck. I have not. I've seen this.
Oh, that's the Pythagoras. That's the Pythagoras deck. Yeah, Ruth was actually posting about this deck.
Yeah, I saw a couple
Definitely
of the posts.
deck.
100%. I think this thing probably has a great profile for fans. Very interesting. Very black and white colorway on the courts, and then the black and blue.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Yeah, that's cool. That blue's really nice.
Yeah,
color.
no, I definitely like the blue, the almost like marble / kind of outer spacey feel to it. Definitely a good looking deck. Back's not necessarily my style, but you can tell some good thought went into how to do this. I bet you. I'm surprised they don't have a fan picture. Because I'm surprised. I bet you this thing fans really well. I bet you it's got a nice look to it. Yeah, no, not a bad deck, and especially for again, not necessarily a standard deck, but no embossing, no foil, and it's a USPCC print. Might be a little.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a standardish deck.
Yeah.
For sure.
So but what also surprises me is the fact that I've seen this deck floating around a bit, like advertising wise, but it's only at $450 after 3 days. So hopefully they make a push on this to really get some advertising going for it, and hopefully they get some momentum behind it because it is a very cool looking deck. I mean. The back of it looks like almost like a galaxy or like a nebula or something. It's super cool. So,
yeah.
What else do we got on here? Discussed this previously, and they were struggling last time. They actually
they redid
so they relaunched. They lowered the goal, and he took a different approach to it. They funded it in a day.
Yeah.
What ended up happening?
People got it.
Yeah, he made a comment initially on the first round that he had tried a different approach and he didn't push the marketing as much because he wanted to see if he could gear, I think, towards a little bit more on the U.S. side of sellers or on purchasers and backers and everything. It didn't pan out the way he wanted, and I know halfway through it was only about halfway funded. So for him to fully fund within 24 hours with the recreate goes to show that he really put some thought into the planning on this. And I know he's funded several decks before this, so I think he kind of reverted to his previous strategy to get funded with that he had for those other decks.
Yeah, I mean, why change something that works?
Now, did you back this one, Matt? Yeah,
I did.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, did you back it? Did you back it before?
I did.
Yeah. Did he come down in the price?
I like these courts. I like the mythology decks.
Yeah.
Super
in depth, illustrations. It's really
he
cool.
did not come down on the price though. I'm still waiting to see if the stretch goals get hit here so that they foil the tuck and do the amber metallic ink on the cards. I'm really hoping that they hit that so that we can see that. But I think this is a great looking deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. The tuck design is really.
Well, I think with the foil and the metallic inks, it'll justify that $21 price a little bit more. But again, that also includes shipping. So really, you're looking at figure $5 shipping a deck. It's a $16 deck. So that's some amazing art for a $16 deck.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Right
All
on.
right, and then I think we had maybe one other. A lot of playing card games lately. So let's see what we got here. Oh, we actually got a
What's
few
that
others.
bicycle branded? What's that plank?
So a plank is a like some sort of smaller than an atom or something like that.
Measurement, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's a scientific term that has something to do with like a atom or something. I'm not exactly sure. I definitely would recommend
Yeah.
some.
What's the goal? What's the
The
goal?
goal on this was 8,000.
Dang,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
I
again.
like science.
Yeah,
This is too much science.
yeah. Well,
That
if you real
back design looks like the. Man, that back design looks familiar. What?
Yeah, it looks
Anybody
like
know what that?
mint.
it does kind of look like the.
No,
It has a similar
kind
vibe
of.
to it,
Oh,
but
is it vitreous? Vitreous, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. It's a high goal, but
high
whatever.
goal
Hopefully.
and not a lot of momentum behind it right now. I mean, they're only a quarter of the way there, a little bit more than a quarter of the way
Yeah.
there. I know they've been pushing the deck.
What is it for a deck?
$12
It's about average for a bike deck, right?
and free shipping in the U.S. So
Wow, yeah,
or
that's good.
yeah, so and even internet. Oof. So $12 shipping to the EU though, which means you're looking at $24 a deck, which is probably why a lot of this is getting limited so far, and it hasn't really hit much of a goal.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if it had more of a tuck design on it rather than just
Yeah, the back
you
end
know
and a blow up of it.
full pip. Yeah, it needs to have a little bit more.
I also have to say, and maybe it's just the monitor, and maybe you guys can see it too, but the bicycle, the ink color is super bright red, and I have
Yeah.
no idea why. It's like too bright red.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping
Yeah, almost fluorescent.
yeah, I'm hoping it's just like the render, but
It's definitely a mock-up.
yeah,
That's why.
I mean it is. It's like safety orange almost. But
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think this definitely has a niche of people who would be interested in this. It's not a bad looking
Yeah,
deck.
72 people.
It's not a bad looking deck, but that's a high goal for what it is.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm sure fans well. I just would like to see the tuck a little more designed. You know.
yeah. Well, and the interesting thing is though too. So there's a Metalux card back as the stretch goal, which they definitely designed it. I think with that stretch goal in mind because it's a single color ink, and as we saw with the Sovereign deck, you can only do single color Metalux right now with USPCC. So I'm wondering how much of it was designed with the expectation that it hits stretch goal, which I don't think is really a great way to approach a deck. You really want to be designing your deck assuming you don't hit any of your stretch goals and just fund, and then add on to it after that, you know?
Right.
Not a bad looking deck, all things considered, though. What else do we got here? Next, we have the. My Kickstarter kicked out on me. Kingdoms of Erden limited printing. All right, so I don't know what's up with this deck. $550 goal, funded already. 627. I saw this. I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah. That just looks like too many red flags, right? The low goal like that,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. I didn't even give it a second look.
And there's only two options, and they're limited edition signed mirrored decks. Like this is either a very like small community is backing someone who they know, and he just threw it up here for ease of like use. But it's definitely not my style. I don't necessarily think this is deck we're gonna see floating around on suppliers' shelves anytime soon. And
Right.
the art's a little.
Kickstarter's too boring. Justin says.
Yeah,
ugly.
no, it wasn't my. I'm not a fan. The art's very clip arty. The back I think has some potential, but it also, considering it's a medieval style deck, there's been a lot of good high detail, high art medieval decks in the past couple of years that just blow this thing out of the water. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Let's end it on singularity.
we can roll into Singularity White with the tapestry.
Otherwise, we'll be here forever because I think there's
I
still
think
a
there were
lot
like two
more.
more, yeah, but again, nothing too high profile right now. So Singularity
Yeah.
launched, I want to say, last Friday. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I know this is a recolor of the black deck that was originally out last year, I want to say. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I think.
So,
Yeah.
and one of the things that I know Christian had spoken about was that this was actually the original design. And at the time, he wanted to do the white deck first and the black deck as a second, but there was more demand from the community for the black deck, so he went with that first. So this is kind of him finally getting to do the deck that he originally had intended, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
This kind of always jumps out to me as a little bit of a red flag there. Limited edition of 1,000 decks, but more if needed to fill back a request. Like, if you're gonna limit a
Yeah.
run, you really gotta limit a run. 1,000's also an interesting one because this is USPCC, right? So
Yeah.
are they still doing 1,000 run minimums, or are they okay? So
Yes.
I know there was a rumor floating
Yes.
around.
That
Yeah.
that that whole 2,500 thing is a
Well,
rumor. It's not. It's not.
I also heard a rumor about 1,500, which seemed a little.
Person
Yeah.
over at USDC, and it's not
Okay.
true.
So I have to say though too, as an add-on, he's doing uncut sheets with this. I know Steve, they're not your thing. Again, I like an uncut when it's very unique. I probably wouldn't do it on this, but $20 for an uncut is more than reasonable, considering. Which actually this leads to a perfect segue, which is a topic that I said I was going to talk about this time and almost slipped my mind, and that is the Chris Ramsey first V3 uncuts that he's selling on his site for $110. So that being said, this here, where is it, $20 each? That is what a uncut should go for. It accounts for, well, there's a plus shipping notification here, but an uncut sheet costs nothing other than the cards. $110.
Hold on. How much is the normal deck here? This is where this is.
$12.
How much is the normal deck?
$12.
So $20 is
Yeah.
fine. It's a little bit more, but just so people are aware, an uncut sheet is the price of a deck. So
Right.
it's the same price. Like it doesn't cost the designer. I mean, it doesn't cost the person to pay extra for it. It's the same exact cost. You just lose a deck. So if you order 1,000 decks and you get 5 uncut sheets, you're getting 995 decks. So just keep that in mind. When you see prices for these uncut sheets, where you're gonna pay is for shipping.
Yeah.
Shipping an uncut sheet is probably around $15, and I was unaware of that actually until recently, but it's pretty expensive. You need to buy the roller and then the mailer,
Yeah.
and then to mail it. To mail it is pretty expensive. It goes by weight.
Yeah, two
So
mailers are not cheap.
no, they're like $5. So
But that
yeah.
being said, if this out the door costs 35 to ship for an uncut, that's pretty much the going rate. 110 is nothing but ridiculous. Yeah, that's honestly, and to me, I think that says a lot about the what Chris Ramsey's really looking to do with those decks. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a loyal fan base of potentially 10.
Justin said they better have real golden cores on it.
Yeah, not a chance, sadly. And the worst part about it too is he basically held on to him until now, when there's still hype floating on the deck to bump that hype back up. It's a good looking deck. I like the palm frond idea. Like, honestly, if it was a $10 deck, I would have picked one up. They weren't unreasonable as a brick. I don't think even. What was he asking for a brick originally? 130 or 180?
Same price. He didn't, but a brick came with a sign.
Yeah. So sorry. Well, it was 110 for the brick or 130.
It's the same price as buying 12 decks.
Oh yeah. So we'll,
yeah,
I
there's no discount.
I can't remember. Oh,
Right.
and his decks were 15 apiece, so it was 180 for a brick. Came with a signed deck. The signed decks I've seen though have been selling for $30, $40, so you can recoup some of your costs there. But you're basically saying you can have one uncut deck for 110, or spend an extra 70 and get 12 plus a signed deck.
Yeah, it's. I'll I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, obviously, everybody who knows, who goes to my site knows that, I try not to, do that or even support, that stuff. But $110 for,
Well, and the funny thing about it, it's not even a signed uncut sheet. So
Yeah.
at that price,
even if it was a signed uncut sheet, it's not worth $110.
absolutely not, but it would at
No.
least justify somewhat of jacking up the price. I mean, I've seen some uncut sheets actually that have gone for significant amounts of money. The ones that I have seen have been things like limited edition bicycle sheets that you can't get anymore. So like that Griffin Club 808 deck. The uncut sheets for that go for like $100 because I think there's like 30 of them out there and no one actually sells them. Another perfect example is there's an uncut sheet of the Escape Map deck. One of the first reprints they did in 1990. So
yeah,
that thing goes for like
that's cool.
160. But that's an amazing deck. It's 30 years old. It's got history and a story behind it. Like that's super cool. Again, I've only seen one of those for sale. You're looking at something where there's probably only a handful out there. But all things considered, the V1 or the first edition or first V3 didn't have a limit on the run. There could be 5,000 of them out there. There could be 10,000 of them out there. So there's no special or limited nature to the uncut sheets.
Justin said he better Ramsey better sign it and deliver them for $110.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, what it's telling me is just that his ego is exploding,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I mean, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. It's definitely a overcharge of the uncut sheet. I do respect a lot of what Chris does as a brand. He's created himself, like what he's done for his brand is amazing. At the same time, I just wish that just be fair, man.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Absolutely. Especially for people who are loyal to your brand. I mean, that's how, in theory, I think especially nowadays, brands that are aware and
people are gonna buy it, okay, and that's why he can charge that. And for me, I'm just a man of principle, and I would never ever buy that because I don't support it. And the problem is, and that's why. I mean, I've said it a billion times. Just like the brand anyone, charging $18 for a deck or $24 for a flag deck. People are gonna buy it. So they're gonna charge it, and if as long as people buy it, they're gonna charge those prices. So good for him if he can get $110 for an uncut sheet. Do I think it's wrong? Yes. Yeah. Is he gonna be a lot richer because of it? Yes. Am I jealous? Yes. But it's way too much for an uncut sheet.
So we had actually a good question from Mike for Incantation Cards. He wanted to know. He's planning on launching end of this month, early April. Is there anything we know of that he might have to compete with? I feel like there's something coming out in April that's got a pretty big hype train behind it, but I can't remember what.
Low track.
Yeah, what's he dropping now?
Is he doing that on Kickstarter, though?
We don't know. He's doing the crypt. He's doing the crypt on the 15th of March. No, I know. Right. He's doing the crypt on March 15th, which is not Kickstarter. But he said to me that he has something big in April. Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to be Kickstarter or not.
So, and this is purely speculation here, but I know I mentioned this to you earlier, Steve, is that Gentleman Wake in his last video posted up that him and Lautrec were going to do a collaboration. So I'm wondering if maybe that's something we could see in April or if that's later in the year. But I'm looking forward to that.
Dude, I'm thinking 3 years from now.
I mean...
knowing Lautrec,
I'm thinking 3 years from now, unless it's been in the works for 2 years, which I doubt. But if it has, then yes. But if they just started working on it, I'm thinking a year at least.
Which nothing wrong with that though. I'm hoping that nothing that comes out of OP playing cards is low quality. It's going to be a beautiful deck no matter what it is. So if it takes them a year to really hit what they're happy with, I'm 100% okay with that. Plus, it'll save my my wallet for a little while.
Yeah, for sure.
But That was a good question, though.
John Oates doesn't know Lautrec.
All right,
Lautrec
so
makes some super fancy decks.
Yeah. Clip joint V2. I don't know when that's dropping. That's yeah.
yeah,
That'd be a
I
good
definitely
one.
feel like there's something else in April too. I know we talked about earlier that the Sin City deck is dropping this weekend, right? So that'll be wrapped pretty much by mid-April. They
If I'm
do,
not mistaken.
yeah. Even though I feel like the Deep Forest might have been a 30-day, but I think it depends on
Was it?
how much momentum they think they're gonna get behind it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know what? I thought,
Yeah.
yeah,
Nathan said stuff takes time, and that's for sure. It depends
Yeah.
on how intricate it is too, and we all know that Lautrec is one of the most intricate and like he's a perfectionist, you know. So I think I know the deck with Kella. I mean, I won't go too much into it, but the deck with Kella took about 2 years. So that gives you an idea of how long it takes to design a deck, depending on who you're designing with. You know.
Yeah.
Ali, I gotta say though, I think one of the things about that, Ali says, let's be honest, printing more than 2 decks in a year and going on Kickstarter as popular people stealing away the show from other decks feels unfair. One of the things that you have to consider with Riffle Shuffle is they're not a single designer. They're actually basically a deck conglomerate to some extent. They're bringing on a lot of designers who are either new to the community or don't necessarily release decks themselves. So while they churn out a lot of decks, they're all different designers. So this year alone, they've actually released 3 decks, including the one coming out this weekend, with 3 different designers, which I think is really cool. It gives an opportunity for people who may not know the
I
process.
feel like they do come out with decks every week, though.
All right, not talking about Riffle Shuffle specifically. Makes sense, Ali. I think a lot of the more established designers now who are coming out with multiple decks a year shy away from Kickstarter for the most part. Like I know Geo's on Kickstarter right now. I don't know if he'll put another one on Kickstarter this year, maybe later this year, but he's not putting out a ton of decks a year. Same with Lorenzo. He's got the Keymaster Tarot on there right now. I don't know if he'll have anything else. He'll have Raven 4 on there at some point.
Raven.
But
yeah, Raven 4 is coming out.
Yeah.
That might be in April.
yeah,
That might be
yeah, that's
probably. Yeah.
because I know he said spring for that one. So Mike, that's something to keep an eye on. It might be Raven 4 coming out around the time you're looking to release. But also, I don't know if he has anything else in the works for later in the year. But even if he does, that's maybe 3 or 4 decks. Most of the high detail, very intricate designers are doing 2-3 decks a year. Even if they're doing a ton of decks a year, a lot of them are doing them direct sales. So
Yeah. Sin City looks like actually like an out of play deck to me.
it kind of does, especially
I kind of get
yeah.
out of play feel.
I was not expecting the courts to look like they did after seeing the tuck. I was expecting a completely different kind of vibe to it, but it's interesting. I still think the tuck looks
Yeah.
amazing. Not necessarily my style on the cartoonishness of the courts, but I think the artwork is very nice. So, what's your thoughts on that one, Matt?
I mean, I like it. I think it's good, but yeah, I'd agree with you that it doesn't completely match the tut.
Yeah, which
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
well, and it's funny too with a name like Sin City. It could have gone in so many different directions. I wasn't sure where it was gonna go, but Nathan said he did Alba did a Art of Play deck last year, which probably explains why there's that similarity. I think he
Yeah.
did what, Golden Sunrise?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the one who did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So it's probably going to be available on out of play after maybe. Oh no, it's a riffle.
yeah,
Shuffle.
so it'll
Okay,
be probably on Murphy's
Talk-
after, yeah.
but, yeah.
Kyle says
Right on.
Vortico might go on Kickstarter. Not through Murphy's again this time. So that might also be
Yeah.
around that time
Yep.
though, because I know he's been posting a lot of progress pictures up, which the deck's looking amazing. So if things keep at this progress, it could be April, May.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What anybody have any questions for Matt? Let's see any questions for him.
Yeah. What you got?
Hoping in spring
Hoping
for
in
Kyle for a launch. All right, so I think spring this year is
Right
going to
on.
be good for a lot of decks. Hopefully we get some cool stuff out there. And Matt, what's the? I guess I got a question for you. What deck are you actually most excited about in the next couple months?
I'm really looking forward to Stockholm 17's Tarot.
All right,
Yeah.
it's going to be an amazing one. inks and made it an interior design and kind of spiced things up a little bit with it, and then the numbered seals. He's really doing a lot of work on it. It's showing too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and other than that, I'm also really looking forward. We mentioned it a minute ago. Crypt from Low
Yeah.
Trek. You know, there's so much.
Everything that comes out of Oath is a gem, right?
Yeah,
So this will be his third mystery
I think
deck.
so.
His first one was the red damask, and then the gold arabesque. So it's exciting.
Nice.
What do we got here? Diesel. Kyle wants to know who's the best NHL team.
Calgary Flames.
And
Boston Bruins. Boston Bruins.
all right, so I'm
Jason's gonna say St. Louis.
I'm a Jersey guy, so you know it's the Devils. Mark wants to know how many decks do you own roughly,
Oh boy.
About 500.
and does that include duplicates or is that 500 unique decks?
That's 500 unique.
All right,
decks.
and we are going to post Matt's Portfolio 52 profile in the link or in the description below, so definitely check that out. You can see a lot of the decks he has, and I'm sure he'd love it if you reached out to ask him about those decks. He's always posting great kind of walkthroughs of the cards in them as he opens them.
Yeah,
Nerds.
absolutely.
Nerds wants to know what was the last deck you gifted a family member.
I know this one.
Yeah, it was Romeo and Juliet.
Nice.
Yeah.
You and Rabbit are like Romeo and Juliet.
And that was her second deck, right?
Yeah, was that your second deck?
Is she gonna come in and is she gonna make an appearance, Matt?
Yeah, you should Rabbit hop in here?
She can stop in and say
Rabbit's
hello.
hop, so hop in.
Hop on over, Rabbit.
I like how she's talking in the chat also. Yeah,
Yeah,
Allie,
now
just
we won't be able to hear them.
message Tyler after, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit me up, Ollie. You know where to find me. Collect the deck. I'm always available. So I feel like I saw another question here too. I just want to see. Ollie wants to know what you use for your beard, Matt.
What I
Yes.
use? I use so I've got a number of different oils, like different scented oils, and I'll put oil in it every day.
Nice.
Today I'm wearing a nice balm, to keep it down a little bit. I'm trying to look nice for everybody. I comb
Well,
my
it looks
hair.
like the bomb,
Yes.
so you're good.
And John wanted to know
This-
if you collect any decks with standard chords.
Yeah, I do have some with standard. Not a lot though. I mostly look for the custom decks. The more customization, the better. Custom tips, custom quartz, fancy type case. Kyle in here, he knows. He knows I like him shine.
Rabbit, we have a question for you. What's your favorite deck that Matt owns?
Oh, she's on a little bit of a delay. Yeah. Said, what's your favorite deck of mine that I own?
That's a tough one because I love the decks that mean something to me. Like I love Sherlock Holmes, so I
Nice.
love the Sherlock Holmes decks by Jackson Robinson, but they're not my favorite art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, think about it. Definitely think about it. I have another question for Rabbit. We can't see her though. Have her move in a little bit. So, the question is, how does it feel? How does it feel to be sleeping on decks of cards when you go to bed?
How does it feel to be sleeping on decks of cards when you go to bed?
It's like the Princess and the Pea, just they're under there.
That's
Oh,
good.
God.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, if a Robert
Yeah,
ever
she's
if a
so
Robert ever
kind,
comes in the house,
What's that?
if a Robert ever comes in the house, you could just throw decks at the person.
Yeah. Yep.
We were having a discussion about this the other night where we mentioned this was your bedroom and someone was shocked. They were like, I thought it was the guest room. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're lucky.
That was
It was
Leslie.
Leslie, yeah.
Leslie was like, "Is that bedroom?"
I'm like, who are we talking
Probably
to?
trip over decks, so you wouldn't even.
I love it. But you know what? You're lucky that she lets you keep all the decks in the room, and you guys definitely have built out
Yeah.
an amazing display setup. I think that's the one thing that it was funny doing the whole like guess who our guest is. The second I posted your collection, everyone knew. Like there was no question about it. It
Yeah.
was Matt's cards, so that was awesome.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Well,
and
Scott Rabbit to thank for that. She's the creative
Nice.
one. You know, she's put a lot of these displays together.
dude, she is a badass designer. She's got like the whole design going down. That's for
No
sure.
doubt about it.
Yeah.
Well, and you were saying too that you guys kind of find.
You guys want to?
Go ahead.
You want to see him?
Yeah,
real
let's
quick?
take a look.
Should I give you?
Give us the tour.
Yeah,
Alright.
let's do the tour.
You were saying too that a lot of your displays are just kind of things that you find while you're out and about, right?
Yeah. Like Facebook Marketplace. I think this cabinet was, on Facebook. We picked that.
It's a nice
up.
one.
Yeah. So I got a few things just on top here, and like these things, both of these I think were from Hobby Lobby.
All right.
Oh,
Nice,
nice.
Yeah. This one was on Facebook as well, I think.
So good.
I
They're
think
so
this thing
cool.
was in Hobby Lobby as well.
Dang, they have some cool little displays.
Yeah, that's
there.
not bad at all, man.
Yeah.
And I gotta call it out too. I always love the book lamp. Yes, there we go.
Ah, dude.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, this lamp right here, I think was for like there was one like this for sale through Theory
Yeah.
11, and Matt actually made
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah. Rabbit and I made that together. Got some coins here.
Hey, Christian, I think there's definitely discrepancies between reps then because Lorenzo talked to his rep and they said that they are not going to 2,500 for crushed stock. That is ridiculous because everybody wants crushed stock and nobody wants 2,500 decks. So I think there's probably a discrepancy between sales reps. Obviously we'll find out eventually. And yeah, 25 minimum for uncuts. I heard they don't cost anymore. They just are the price of the deck, just because they pull them off the sheet before they get cut. But it might be different for different accounts. Maybe depending on how many you get. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Yeah, and anybody can get crushed at 1K. It's not
Just gamblers, yeah.
It's not just gamblers. It's everybody. Anybody can get it now. They're not moving to 2,500.
Yeah. Which, and again though, who knows? Down the road things could change, but I think for now, yeah, anyone getting in, it should be interesting. So.
Yeah. We found out because I mentioned it to Lorenzo, and Lorenzo talked to his rep today, and they said they are not doing that. But who knows? We'll find out.
No.
We will find out eventually.
No doubt about it. And Matt, there was another question that popped in for you. Allie wanted to know if you have a plan to do your own project for a deck of cards. No plans? All right. So Matt,
let's link it up, man. Let's collab. We'll do a deckinaround and Matt Bayou.
he can be one of the jokers. With we'll do one with like the clean cut beard, and then one with the like first woke up beard. Do a nice color change with it. Oh man, 400 times. So John's saying that crush stock is a $400 one-time fee, unconfirmed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I'm not familiar with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into deck prices. Steve's a little more familiar with it, but yeah, I think it really does vary too. I think by account and by what you're looking to do, what other amenities you're looking to add to the deck. Whether you're doing tuck boxes through, I know can have a big impact on pricing. So it's all interesting to see. And I think, as they become more familiar with the accounts, they're going to obviously look for better deals. I'm sure that some of the bigger accounts, like, again, Theory 11, it's probably getting better deals than a lot of other people on this stuff. And it may end up being, cents on a deck, but when you're doing 10,000 decks, that adds up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's for sure.
All right, guys. Well,
Anybody have...
Oh, no, yeah.
I was gonna see if anybody had any last minute questions for Matt before we head out. If do you have anything you want to add? Anything?
Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to say to the people?
Oh yeah, there was one thing I just wanted to touch on that I saw in the comments a little while back. I think when we were talking about Kickstarter, some people were talking about. I think it was maybe Justin was saying that he was holding back on the circus deck because it's printed at NPCC, right?
Mm,
So for me, printers doesn't matter a whole lot if I really like the art, if I really like the deck, I want that deck regardless of where it's printed at, right? Now that being said, I do absolutely prefer it to feel good in my hand, you know, but it's not the most important thing for me. If
right.
the art's the most important thing to me, if I like it and if I really like it, it doesn't matter to me where it's printed at. I've got many decks that have been printed at NPCC, and some people hate them. They hate how they feel. I don't know. I'm not using them for that.
Yeah, for sure. You're collecting, and you're not fanning with them. You're not spreading, like you're not doing all that stuff. So it really doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Nice. No, and I think again that speaks to the idea of the art that is cards, which I think is an awesome part of cards. So
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Here's a good question that Ali asked. How do you respond to people that want to spread negativity about a deck before it even going to Kickstarter?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Basically, like seeing people talking negative about a deck before someone gets to launch it on Kickstarter.
It depends on what was said, right? So help out and try to make things better before it goes to it. But straight up negativity, yeah, I dislike negativity, and I would try to shut it down.
Right on.
I agree with
yeah,
that
you're
one too,
definitely
yeah.
an advocate for positivity in the community. You're always trying to spread love and good vibes, which I really appreciate, because it's definitely something. I mean, we all see it. We see people making digs on other people and saying things. They might not be saying it outright, but they're saying it in their posts, kind of like in a little hidden code.
Right.
I mean, but people know, and people follow that, So I think, I know I appreciate your positivity and, all the good vibes that you spread into the community. So thank you.
To kind of add on to what Matt said there a little bit too, I think one of the things is criticism, whether positive or negative, depending on how you take it, can severely color it. I think if you're looking to design a deck that's going to go to Kickstarter, even the people who are saying negative things, try and find the positive in it. Try and find a way to use that to continue to build your product and build your brand so that you can turn what they're saying into help for you. A lot of times what ends up happening is people don't know how to properly communicate, and so when they're really just trying to help, it may come off sounding negative, and that may not even be their intention. But in a day and age where everything is conveyed via text, it's tough to know. So take it with a grain of salt and always try and find the positive in it if you can.
Yeah, somebody's delivery might not be that good. Their intentions might be good, but their delivery might be a little wonky.
And I guess
Yeah, for sure. There's people like that.
So
Yeah.
So last question here, guys, real quick before we wrap. And I know Mark just asked if there were any other ways besides Instagram to promote yourself before launch. I think Matt's a good example of someone who's across a lot of communities in the card community, in the card, card game here, I guess we could call it. What communities are you a part of, Matt, other than Instagram?
Yeah, so there's a few Facebook groups, but there's definitely not as many people on Facebook. And then besides that, there's United Cardists. I'm on United Cardists. There's a lot of so there's a lot of criticism for sure on United Cardists, but that's because people there care. They care immensely about playing cards, and they have their opinions about playing cards. So
Right.
I would say, yeah, visit United Cardists, but don't let what people say dishearten you. I guess if you're trying to what's the word I'm trying to design a deck, right? There's a forum on there for card designers to try to get some feedback, and you're going to get feedback. You know.
Yeah,
And
for
not
sure.
everybody there, is going to sugarcoat it. You know. So,
Right. Yeah, I think for me, within anything, if you're asking a question, you cannot be afraid to hear the answer. You can't
Yeah.
get mad to hear the
Yeah.
answer. Because if you're asking, not everybody knows who you are, not everybody cares about your heart, cares about like, whatever, we know that a design comes from your heart, comes from your mind, and it means something to you. But it doesn't mean the same to everybody. And yes, there are decks out there that I think are hideous. Would I say that to the person? Of course not. But you have to be willing to hear that word if you're asking the
Yeah.
question. So don't take it too much to heart, because some people are going to love your deck no matter what.
And the other truth to that too is you want to be asking the question, because ultimately the better impact and feedback you can get from the community, the more successful your deck is going to be, because for every person out there who hates your deck, there's going to be someone who loves it, and you've just now pre-sold a deck to them basically. It's worth getting that feedback. It's more than just feedback to build your deck. It's really a means of marketing, a means of getting your name out there and building your brand before you even maybe have it on the haven't even done it. I think actually a perfect example of that is the Gakando deck. I know he got a lot of feedback from the United Cardist community beforehand for almost a year, and then he brought that deck to market, and it's crushed. So
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful deck for sure. Right on. Well, I think for me, I mean, I'm I don't have any other questions for keep them too much longer.
Yeah.
I think we're going on about an hour and 25 minutes now. So
yeah, we're just rolling on it. Matt, we appreciate you being on tonight.
I've absolutely enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on. It's been a blast.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and running through Kickstarter with us and showing us some of your amazing decks, and encouraging me to open this guy up. So.
Yeah. Thanks for doing
yeah,
that,
thank you. Thank you for putting that mojo on him to make him open that. He wouldn't listen to me, but you just said it once, and he's like, "Okay, I'll open it."
Well, guests get what they want. That's a rule of the house. Part of the problem though is now my house smells like mothballs. So.
Put it in the Ziploc.
Yeah, I'll definitely Ziploc it up. But as much out of this as you can. Feel free to leave feedback in the comments, Instagram, wherever. We want the feedback to make this even better show. Definitely make sure to
whether it's we suck or not, it's all good.
Yeah, for sure.
So make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you get notifications for all the upcoming episodes. We have some great guests coming up in the next couple episodes. We're super excited about it. So make sure to check it out, guys, and have a nice night.